So we're going to start off with some UV resin today, and we're going to fill the little holes and cracks between our vinage on our windows. Now this is from our last one. In part 2 we did the painting of everything. Part 1 is when we did the sculpting, and part 3 we're going to be adding the moss in this video, and we're going to be doing a no-sew bookbinding and no-sew signature adding. So after you've filled in all your UV resin and the cracks and the holes from your vines, we're going to lay down some UV light for about 3 minutes. Now once that is complete, I think we're going to shine up our pond as well. The pond colors have been painted with an acrylic, but the colors are kind of flat. So you can use like a Mod Podge on here, or you could use a UV resin if you have some of that too. After you've painted an even coat, again, you're going to cook for 3 minutes. Or again, simply just Mod Podge, the high gloss would be perfect for this too. Don't paint your rocks because to keep those flat would give it more of a realistic look. Next we're going to need is some ferns, some reindeer moss, now the reindeer moss is absolutely amazing to work with. It's soft, it's palatable, and when you cut it, it doesn't get all over the place. It's not dry, so it doesn't make as much of a mess as most mosses that you'd get at the local craft stores. Now I did try using some clear craft glue here that would take probably 24 hours for it to dry. It really didn't want to roll with the moss as well as I thought it would. I used it in a couple places and then I wound up removing it and redoing it with the hot glue. So my plan is I'm going to work around the perimeter of the door, the windows, and all the polypore steps. And I think that'll help really give that feel of the wood background, the bark, it's nestled into the tree, and also really helps pop out the colors. Again, the brown next to it, I find it kind of muted some of the colors. So with this moss, I find it's really punching out, and the green is helping out quite a bit. There you see me, I just rubbed away some of that clear glue and just went in with just the hot glue. Again, you won't have to wait a long time. And with the hot glue, it's able to pack in a lot faster as well. Now, my little pond, I guess, would be like a little divot in the branches, maybe where some water has pooled. So I'm going to add a lot of moss around the perimeter of the little pond. And again, you can cut down the moss and squeeze it into quite a few little areas. After a while, I started using the tip of my tweezers here, and it helps pack into the areas a little nicer too, especially getting around the polypores. And moving my way all the way around the edging, I'm going to later on be adding to the spine. I'm going to be adding some moss there too, so I think I'll extend that scenery on and above the side of the book as I play around with the edging too. Working my way around all the polypores, trimming the moss into just little sections. Again, using those tweezers to really pack it in there. And that way the steps still pop out. It's nice to be able to have that little area. And moving on to the rocks around the door frame. Now at the top there, I had a little bit too much beige paint when I was doing some dry brushing. I wasn't too worried about it because then I can add some more moss and it can be hidden. And I do want a little bit of a space between the windows, so it's nice the tweezers were able to pack it in. And again, the hot glue and the moss seems to work really, really well together. And anything extra you have hanging off this side of the book, I just took some scissors and trimmed that away. Moving on to some ferns. I have a couple kinds here, but I wound up just using the one longer because I do have some fiddleheads that I also sculpted and painted. So I think that'll be matching a little bit more. And these ones I'm going to simply just hot glue down as well, playing around with some different configurations, seeing what looks good. Just play around with your piece if you make this fairy door. Comment down below if you've made a fairy door before, or you'd like to make a fairy door book. So I think with this one I'm going to add, I like things in odd numbers. So I try to add probably 3 to 5, but this one would be, because there isn't a lot of space, I think I'm going to add 2 to 3, maybe some different sizes to play around with. And there's a little fiddleheads that I made. Now, when I made a bunch of fiddleheads, some of them I didn't bake long enough, so they broke on me. So there's that. So I had to like add some more ferns to hide up, add some more moss to hide some of the little cracks and bits and pieces there. That's okay. A little bit of paint, a little bit of moss hides anything. Oh, see, I just broke that one. That's one of them that I painted that. No good. So I just let that one go. I got the moss there to hide it. And again, add a little bit of moss at the base. Gives it a little bit more realistic look to it. Removing all the glue strings there. And it looks like I might try one more little fern here. I really like the look. It just finished up the piece. I really wish I had more fiddleheads. Maybe I should make some more and add them to this book later. All right, now let's get to the book binding. No sew book binding. Here's my signatures. Got some scissors. This is also like a canvas ribbon we're going to use. I'm going to grab some more moss and hot glue. And we're going to use some Mod Podge with this because we're going to do the inside of the book. So I grabbed some various types of paper to use. Not showing any yet. And we're going to grab a no-sew book binding feel here. So we're going to use embroidery thread to create that look. And I'm just measuring out the spine. For a second there, I thought I was going to go back to the first one, which is the smaller one on the right that I cut first. But I really did want a larger spine so I can add more signatures to this later on if I wanted to. Just trimming off some of the tissue paper that was left over when I did the wood bark texturing. I'm going to grab my canvas ribbon and I'm going to use the Mod Podge for struggling with this. Not quite sure what to do. There we go. You want to lay down a serious thick coat of Mod Podge for this part. And you want to work a little faster because this Mod Podge dries pretty quick. And you want to get this into the nooks and crannies of this canvas ribbon. Now after you lay down that piece, we're going to do another coating of paint, or another coating of glue over top of that, sorry. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to repeat again exactly the same on the other side. Now, my ribbon isn't big enough to overlap with the space that I'm looking for. So I need a bit of a gap between the spine and the book so that way it'll bend and fold really well without being stiff. So I decided to use 2 pieces of ribbon, and we're going to overlap the ribbon in the centerpiece of the cardboard spine that I have on the left side there. And I gave those a chance to dry for a little bit. Now we're going to line up our spine. And again, you want about 1/8 of an inch gap, maybe a little bit bigger. And any of your, I want to be in my gap at the bottom, want it being a little bit too big than the top. I'm not too big, just I want to be bigger than it was at the top. So I wound up hiding that a little bit with moss. It just slid a little bit after it dried, the paint, the glue, so I wound up just adding moss to hide that up. Again, a nice healthy thick coating on the spine. And I'm using quite a big thick piece of cardboard. And this cardboard I cut out from one of my watercolor drawing books. So it's a cardboard from the back of the book. Super dense, super thick. So it'll help match up the book thicknesses of the other two. Let that dry for a little bit, and we're going to hop into the moss. Adding some moss down the spine, and we're going to add some along the cracks of the spine too to help hide some of the gaps. And just starting at the top, and I'm going to kind of work my way down. I was thinking quite a bit at the bottom because I like how it comes off the bottom of the pond area. So I was thinking a little less, but then I wound up adding a lot more, and I really like the look of it. Now I didn't add into the back of the book, I just left that as is, but I did quite a bit cover the spine, and you can see here where there's the gap. I decided to hot glue that, and it only stuck to the ribbon and it didn't stick to the side of the cardboard pieces, so I really squeezed it into the gap. And then I used the tweezers and I used some little bits and stuff and really got it in there. So when I bent it, it was pretty cool. It actually hit it quite nicely. And as you see here, when I bend it, it doesn't allow you to see the ribbon, so that's pretty sweet. Now playing around with some different kinds of paper, wasn't quite sure how I was going to go with first. I have the one that's like a newspaper print. I like this one, kind of the explorer look, maybe explorer looking for fairies with magnifying glasses. But there wasn't enough paper to fill that in. So I decided instead of doing a collage type, I did a whole newspaper print. This is kind of like an 1800s newspaper print in the back. So we're going to lay down some Mod Podge here, some glue. And we're going to seal everything front and back. I like how it's ripped here, and I'm going to keep that in. All right. So again, a super healthy coating on this because it does dry fast, and an extra thick coating of where the canvas ribbon is, because that really soaks up the glue quite a bit down into the cracks and nooks and crannies. So you want to really get that in. I'm using a bone folder here to kind of work the spine. And the glue is drying faster than I could get it on, so I had to touch up some areas there, which probably helped out quite a bit too. And I didn't want any straight edges when using my sunflower paper here. And just haphazard had a good time with this. I'm going to do another coating of glue over top of everything when I'm done. So whatever glue sticks out right now, that's totally cool. And I had a little Aries ram amongst the cosmos from a little old map. So I threw that into, I'm an Aries, so I thought, it would look cool. Matches the paper. Now this one I have some citrine gem sand. I got it for like $2 at Pagan Pride Market, Beltane Market I think it was. And so I thought I'd sprinkle some citrine into my little fairy book here. So while the glue is still wet, I'm going to sprinkle on some gem dust. And then when that dries all in, it'll be a little rough, but I'll have the invocation of the nice citrine, the energies of the citrine crystal in my book cover. Throwing down some intention, of course, as I lay in the dust. Now picking some embroidery thread. I'm thinking, I hope I have enough purple. I got royal purple. If not, I can do some blue. There's some other purple, or red. So I'm really hoping to do this one with purple, but if not, I will use the red and the blue as well, and that'll help punch out the colors from the mushrooms that I did on this one. Now I have a few signatures here to work with. Each signature has 7 pages folded in half. They're 11 by 16. And I did make the spine a little bit wider, as I said, because I would like to add some more signatures later to this if I can. Now, one thing's really cool about the no-sew signatures is that you'd be able to take them in and out anytime you'd like. Starting off with some embroidery thread, we're going to do 3 lengths of the page, and we are going to cut our knot on the other side. So I will make just you can either do a bow, or you could simply do just a little left over right over left knot. So I need 3 lengths of the page for each signature, so I'm just cutting those out first. Then you want to approximately find your middle, lay down your signature. This is going to be the easiest part. Open up, close up your book here. Do your knot, hold your finger down so it gets tightened as you can. I did lay some moss in a straighter line across where I wanted to have the knots. And I'm not going to do a bow here because I have a few signatures to put in. And we're going to rinse and repeat for them all. It's really, really, really fun and easy. So again, your corresponding cord, jute twine, cotton cord, ribbon. I'm going to use, like I said, embroidery thread here, purple, and whatever color or item you like to use, you can make your book. Like even ribbon on this page would look gorgeous. And again, just repeat. I'm doing like a 3-strand knot and then a double knot over top. And you just continue till all your signatures are complete. So once you have those all done, again, one of my favorite parts about removable signatures is that you can remove an entire signature if you'd like, or just 1 or 2 pages. Take them out, paint them, do whatever you'd like, and you'll be able to put them back in. Now, one thing I was sad about my Grimoire with Me page is that I never got to be able to sew any pages on my sewing machine, so now I'm going to be able to do that with this book. Well, thanks so very much, as always, for chilling out with me today, and have yourself an absolutely magical day.